Well, it's all changed in the greenhouse again, and done quite a lot of changes actually. I'm just sowing onion seeds right now, but I've put all the potatoes down here in these containers down here. They're getting a little bit of light from the grow lights, but not very much. It's getting a little bit of sunlight in here now, mostly between about sort of 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. So just enough probably for the potatoes, but not ideal. Under the grow lights down there, I've got Asian greens, I've got radishes, just the last few little bits of overwintered spinach. I had a few onions that were sprouting, and I thought, well, I'll just plant them up because we're a bit short of onion greens at the moment, salad onion greens. So I thought, well, I probably could eat these. So I'm going to give it a go this weekend, see what they're like. And then I've got some more radishes here and some turnips there. Just trying to make maximum use of this space here, whilst I wait really for the peppers to be ready to come out here. So the early peppers are doing quite nicely. They're in the conservatory at the moment, looking really strong. And all starting to side shoot now, which is really nice. And peas are coming on really nicely. Loads and loads of flowers on those. I'm just waiting for the first pea. You know, you can never see them until you see them, and then as soon as you see the first one, you see loads. But at the moment, all I'm seeing are flowers. Let's keep looking. And then down here, I've just got loads of seedlings, and just got some nice calabrese, some nice Savoy cabbage there, waiting to go out, and some celery, and lots of little cuttings from the strawberries. And as I say, I'm just doing onions. So I like to do onions maybe slightly different to most people, but I'll talk you through it. So these are salad onions, and I've chosen the variety Lilia. The reason that I've gone for Lilia is because, well, partly because they're beautiful purple colour, but actually mostly because they're a bulbing onion. But they do really nicely as a salad onion as well. So my idea is, this tray that I'm doing at the moment, I've put in about 8 or 9 seeds in. And these will they will definitely be eaten as salad onions, traditional sort of salad onions. Whereas this tray that I've just done here, I've put about 3 or 4 seeds in per module. Now, there's a kind of logic to that madness. So the first bit is, obviously they're going to come way earlier. So there's a lot of competition between onions when you put them in at sort of 8 seeds to a module, which means they grow quite a lot slower than when you put them in 3 or 4 seeds to a module. So these will be ready probably about a month before these will be. And so that is a real bonus. And the second reason is that if I end up having too many salad onions, which I often do, because I often sort of get concerned that I haven't got enough, and then actually it turns out that maybe a few more survived than I was thinking survived and all that. And if that's the case, I can leave these that are planted sort of 3 to 4 seeds per module in the ground for an extra few weeks, maybe an extra month. And that means that when these are being picked as salad onions, these can be picked as small bulbing onions, and that's often in about June. And that's kind of the time when we start to run out of our stored onions. And so it means we just get this really lovely harvest of kind of baby onions, you know, maybe sort of this sort of size, all the way through summer. And then sort of, you know, in July we've probably got tough ball onions as well that we could be using, but tough ball keep quite well, so if we end up having plenty of these Lilia mini onions, then we can just put all the tough ball ones, the white tough ball ones, into store. So yeah, and of course I'm putting, as I say, loads in per module and just planting them as a clump. And actually I'll just show you some that are planted as a clump out there in the kitchen garden that have been overwintered, and they're looking sort of okay. As I say, they're not looking particularly strong right now, but by the time we need to be eating them, they should be looking really lovely. So that's how I'm doing the onions, and I'll switch over to a true salad onion next month. That'll be something like Guardsman or I can't remember the name of it now. I'll put it up on as an overlay so you can see it. But yeah, Guardsman, White Lisbon, those sorts of things. So yeah, they're looking lovely. And of course I don't, like everything, I don't count how many onions I'm putting in. I'm just putting in a pinch, and I've just over the years got used to a pinch being about 8 or 9 onions, and a little pinch being sort of 3 or 4 onions seeds. So yeah, onions all done, and these will go in the house now because they germinate. I mean they germinate over a wide range of temperatures, onions, but I'll be germinating mine at about 18 degrees, which is basically just sort of the average temperature of the house at this time of year. So next up I'm doing peppers, and I've got quite a nice little selection there. I've got Akron, which is a beautiful red one, Bright Star, an orange one, Long Yellow Ringo, guess what colour that is, New Ace, which is a red one, and Lunchbox, which is a multicoloured one, and and Redskin, which is a larger red one. So I've just done the first little batch of those there, and I've also done my aubergines and my chili peppers, and I've got a sum total of 3 chili peppers. That's all I need. Last year we just had the ridiculous, I think we had 6 plants, something like that. We were totally overwhelmed with chili peppers, way more than we needed. So yeah, I've got 4 aubergines, 3 chili peppers, and 1 little tomato that was left over from when I potted the tomatoes up, which are looking quite nice now, in the conservatory. I just don't want to compost it, so I'm going to clear those out of the way. And start pricking these out. I'm just putting them into a 9-cell tray for now. I just don't have that much space. I'd like to give them a little bit more space, but I don't have that much space on the grow light, so I figure that this will be okay. And I only actually need 6 of each of the 9 that I'm starting off. So I'll have a few spares to give away to people, hopefully, if all goes to plan. And yeah, I mean, you've seen me prick out peppers before, so I won't sort of dwell on that, but basically I'm just dropping them in, and then I sort of come back to them in a minute, just to keep the flow going. And these are New Ace, these ones, and they're quite nice New Ace. I'm quite happy with them. Yeah, and you know, I always bury the stems. I know some people say, well, no, you shouldn't really bury the stems of peppers, but to be honest, young plants like this, they're absolutely fine buried stems. And you know, if you want the evidence, then as I say, just look at my early ones, which had their stems buried, and you can see that they're perfectly healthy. So yeah, I think evidence always trumps theory. So there we go. Just settle them in. That's about as deep as I'm sort of happy to do it. that. Yeah, so that's the peppers. And actually I just was doing the salad onions, but what I forgot to mention in the greenhouse is that up on the shelf there, I've got all my main crop onions. In fact, I think this part of the shelf are main crop onions, and that part of the shelf are various different types of shallots or shallot-like onions. So things like a Leicester, for example, I think is probably an onion, but it looks like a shallot. So, and it tastes nice and sweet, and it's some sort of crossover. I'm never quite sure as to what's going on with what is actually an onion and what isn't, but yeah, if it tastes like an onion, so if it looks like a shallot and it tastes like a shallot, then yeah, I'm happy to grow it as a shallot. And then when I've finished this, I've got some lettuces to sow, and I'll show you that now. So now I'm doing the lettuce, and I have to remind myself really when I'm doing lettuce at this time of year that these are going to be harvested in sort of peak lettuce growing time. So in May, probably May and June. And so I don't need very many of them. I only need a small kind of sprinkle in each of the modules. The varieties that I'm doing are Lolorosa, Blastex, Apache, which is a beautiful red one which I've not grown before but looks quite tempting. Navarro, which is a lovely red one that's kind of my go-to favourite lettuce for most of the year, well, all the year apart from winter really. Yeah, what else have we got? Yeah, Half Flex, which is another Salanova type, and Canasta, which is fantastic, crispy, very colourful summer lettuce, although I've got some of it for spring as well. And yeah, Flashy Lightning Butter Oak, which is a gorgeous one as well. Sort of bronzy flex. The Salanovas, which are the Blastex, they come in these beautiful little containers. These are really nice, and the seeds are coated. Honestly, it's a bit overkill really. It's pretty easy to sow lettuce, but they are really nice, these Salanova types, but they're quite expensive, so you know it's only the sort of lettuce connoisseurs like me that probably worth bothering with doing them. And you only sow exactly the number that you need. No oversowing with those. And then just cover them over with about a centimetre, plant them about a centimetre deep. So yeah, it's all pretty easy. And then just in these modules here, I'm just putting red stem pak choi, quite a bit of it actually, because we quite like that in the salads. Sometimes sort of taking two big modules. I will prick it out. I know sometimes I don't bother pricking out, but other times I kind of quite like to try that. And some tatsoi. I'm going to do two different types of tatsoi because I really want to see which one is the better one. I've got one from Mole's Seeds, and I've got one from Premier Seeds, but I'm not sure, not very confident about the one from Premier, so I'm giving the one from moles a bit of a try. The plants from the Premier, they seem a bit weak. I've got some over there, they're not looking that great. Like the red stem patchouli was ready ages ago. But the tatsoi is still, you know, a couple of weeks away from planting perhaps. This is probably my last sowing as well of Asian greens for the year. Got a few successions on the go. I always like to remind people that I do have a newsletter, weekly newsletter, that's quite well, I think is quite useful. Lots of people seem to think it's useful, and that covers, you know, pretty much everything that you need to be thinking about each week. So it makes gardening, which can feel a little bit overwhelming at times, into a much easier and sort of bite-size activity. And oh yeah, I did want to mention as well, when you're watering in your peppers, well, watering anything really, when it's just a seedling or a seed, they only need to be moist. You don't want them absolutely sopping wet or anything like that. So a light top watering initially until the plants get well established, and then you can consider sort of bottom watering. But yeah, just a sprinkle of water really. If the compost's already moist, maybe a little bit more if the compost isn't moist yet. Yeah, but just don't oversaturate them, and that'll help you with fungus gnats, and it'll also stop your plants getting stem rot. And just also, I think, helps sort of encourage them to put out a lot of roots, and yeah, make sure there's no root rotting going on. So yeah, just a sprinkle and you'll be done. So my name's Steve, and I'll see you soon.